What's going on there, folks? Good afternoon. It's the Earthmaster here on this beautiful weekend. It is Saturday, June 11th, 2022, about 1:17 p.m. California time. Latest quake coming into the Earthquake 3D globe shows a 3.8 just off the coast there of Japan. It's been rather quiet in this area over the last 24 hours or so. Looks like we got a little activity trying to come into that region. An area that hasn't been awfully quiet is the New Zealand area, Kermadec Trench northward into the Tonga Trench as well. Seeing quite a bit of movement down here today and overnight, including a 5.7 earthquake out here along the Pacific Antarctica plate boundary. Let's go ahead and check out the latest activity here on the map. This is the EMSC model. Shows basically about the same stuff as we're seeing on the globe. And it does match what we're seeing here with the USGS map. So a little bit of activity down here around the North Island, New Zealand area. We did have a 5.6 come in yesterday, kind of late afternoon. It's going to be this earthquake up here. Since then, we've seen a little bit of adjustment within about the 12-hour period here. A little bit more deeper movement to the south. Along the Kermadec Trench, getting close to the Hikurangi subduction zone, just off the coast here of Bay of Plenty, North Island, New Zealand area. And of course, down here in the south part of the Pacific Ocean, seen a 5.7 here around the Bounty Islands area as well. Still an overall sign here of some adjustment, and I still think we have a pretty good chance of seeing something much bigger than what's been popping off here, pending. Well, we'll see what happens here. It's been kind of iffy in terms of any major adjustment in this specific area. I don't think a 5.6, a moderate earthquake, but I still think we're looking at something a little bit larger that should pop off here real soon in the near future. There's the quietness up here along the Japan region, but as we've seen on the Earthquake 3D globe and the EMSC model, showing a little bit of upper 3 magnitude earthquake activity up here off the coast of Japan. But above that, not much at all. Looking up here towards the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, got a pretty deep earthquake here into the Russia region of 4.3 at 129 kilometers. But overall, it's pretty quiet. Look at that. Mariana Trench and the rest of the Philippine plate all pretty quiet there in terms of 4.0 and above. Did have one earthquake up here, much further up into Russia. That one was overnight, a 4.3 at 10 kilometers, and a little adjustment here around the Himalayas, up into portions of the Middle East here, around Afghanistan, eastern Afghanistan area, and some movement still popping off around the Cyprus region, although these guys have it set just off the coast of Turkey for a 4.3. Down here in the Indian Ocean, a little bit of adjustment going on as well, 5.0 in this area, in the mid-Indian Ridge. Atlantic Ocean has definitely seen a pretty good uptick from north and south. Yesterday there was nothing, even on the update last night. I did have one way up here, 4.9. It's way north Atlantic Ocean, south of Iceland though, and seeing a little bit of swarming going on here around the Ascension Island area. Looks like a swarm of 5s and 4s are kicking off in this area. It is in the looks like the Georgetown area, just off the shore. Historical data, this is a very active spot in terms of earthquake activity. Let's see if the EMSC, there we go, or USGS I should say, definitely seen quite a bit of earthquake activity out here historically, 4.5 and above, and sometimes these earthquakes, as we've seen today, get into the 5 range and a lower 6. So we'll watch that pretty closely. Definitely in a hot spot there where earthquake activity is very, very common. And today that is the case with all those 5s and 4s kicking off there in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. South Sandwich Islands should show a little bit of adjustment following all this activity out here in the Atlantic. So we'll watch that area next here for potential movement. But South America region, still seeing some activity up and down the Peru-Chile Trench. Looks like a couple fours, quite a few fours. Majority of it looks like it's somewhat moderately deep, including a 4.8 here in the Peru-Chile Trench at 124 kilometers. So a little bit of activity, deeper movement onto the subduction zone there, or into the subduction zone, I should say. Off the coast of Colombia here, south of Panama, 4.2 kicking in. And the Puerto Rico area did see a little bit of activity as well. Looks like quite a few twos and some threes in the mix. I got the AC on here in the background here in the computer room because it's hot again. It's close to 100 outside right now. Got some cloud cover coming in and some rain up north, northern California later tonight and tomorrow. But it's hot here in the valley, very hot. So got to keep these ACs running for sure. So twos and threes, nothing major going on around the Puerto Rico Trench up here. Things look kind of calm. The states, what do we got going on here? This is the all magnitudes here, kind of spotty throughout the plain states eastward. Not seeing a whole lot of movement. West Coast activity is lighting up a little bit, including filling in of quakes there around the Cobb Mountain region. This is looking more like the normal daily routine there of microquakes around the hydrothermal fields out there south of Clear Lake. We got one earthquake outside of Ukiah, 2.0. That's kind of in between the San Andreas Fault and the coastal range fault called the Macama Fault Zone. This one's pretty shallow, about 4.9 kilometers, and some other scattered activity within the vicinity of Ukiah. Not a whole lot going on throughout the Cascadia currently, at least no major quakes at the moment. We did have some activity last night and this morning in the Redding area, north of Redding, around not Mount Shasta, but Shasta Lake, kind of up here around the Trinity Mountains area. Mount Shasta sits way up here to the north. Beautiful volcano. Well north of this region, though, some deep earthquake activity around 20 kilometers. The Round Mountain earthquake, 1.4, around 11 kilometers. Not a whole lot going on throughout the Pacific Northwest. This one earthquake came in south of Yakima yesterday. Since then, we haven't really seen too much activity ramping up. And Yellowstone National Park, though, is one to watch because we got a little bit of swarming kicking up here again today. Let me bring up the latest map here and show you guys the swarming that's kicking off here. We've seen this come in yesterday. It looks like overnight and during the day today, things are really kicking up here. USGS is not keeping up with the quakes currently. I know it's the weekend. They have been doing a pretty good job. In fact, they have been showing quite a few of the microquakes that have been popping up here around the Yellowstone area. But today, there's definitely a lot of them here. And some of these look like they could be in the 2 range, if not a little bit higher. It is showing up all across the northwestern corner of the park. The epicenter region looks to be around the Maple Creek area, possibly Holmes Hill, at least according to these graphs here. But then again, as you see, it is showing up even at Old Faithful down here, some of the larger quakes. So a little bit of swarming kicking up here for sure. And there's a good handful, looking probably at least good 30 or 40 earthquakes on this map. Some of these larger ones, like I said, probably in the 2 range. And then, of course, you got these little microquakes here. All these little specks, these little blue specks there by the hand, showing those super small microquakes. But there's a good... definitely quite a few of them there today. So we'll watch that. Yesterday's times microquake swarm, let me double check and see previous day. There was a little activity in the same vicinity as what we're seeing today, but not as intense. See all this little activity? This was yesterday UTC time, so on Friday, Thursday night. Yeah, definitely not as active as what we're seeing today. So it's pretty it's a pretty busy day up there around Yellowstone, it looks like. Let's go back to today's timestamp. Aside from this movement up here in the northwest corner of the park, there's not a lot going on eastern part of the Yellowstone supervolcano. So again, pretty good swarm just outside the Yellowstone caldera, which is here in this black line in kind of a circle. Kind of looks like a little butterfly type fashion with Lake Yellowstone there included. This activity again happening right around the Maple Creek area. Let's see what else we got here, folks. Let me go back to the all magnitudes here. And let's check out the rest of the west coast. Eastern Sierra Nevada is tapering off. There is still some movement around Long Valley supervolcano. Looks like a couple small microquakes just outside the caldera down here to the south. And Ridgecrest is pretty spotty today. Look at that, only 3 earthquakes within this area. It's getting quiet again down there. And Southern California, about the same. There's no major swarms going on. 1 earthquake here striking off the Elsinore fault system. It looks like a 0.8, very small microquake. No major swarming going on to take note of around the Salton Sea or anywhere for that matter in Southern California. Hawaii looks like they're on the quiet side as well. Only 8 earthquakes over the last 24 hours. And this is the all magnitudes map. So very quiet. Which is a little odd. Like I say, a lot of times here when the Western Pacific Plate, or the portion of the Western Pacific Plate here is moving, things tend to go quiet over here along the eastern. But today it kind of looks like it's both of them quiet, and things kind of kicking up south here in the southern part of the map, or the globe, however you want to look at it. So we'll definitely keep an eye on things here and see how this plays out. See what else we got. Tremor map last night was pretty quiet. Wasn't a whole lot going on. Looks like only 10 epicenters of tremor. Most of it there, all of it, looks like just outside of Portland, under Portland, I should say, down there into the Cascadia subduction zone. Let's check out the Mount St. Helens seismograph station. It has been mellowing out quite nicely within the last couple days. We'll see what today's timestamp or today's recorded graph looks like. Come on. Are we going? Are we going? Hello? Oh, there we go. Looks about the same here. Only a couple, looks like only a couple microquakes overnight. See these little spikes. Actually, it looks a little, I'd say it's a little bit more active than yesterday. If you want to count all these little smaller ones in there as well, which are definitely little microquakes. Nothing big going on. These are probably some low one-pointers that you're seeing there in the red and the black lines here. So nothing major going on currently at Mount St. Helens. So that is good news for there. Solar weather activity, kind of watching this sunspot that's coming around the eastern limb. It's kind of making itself known here. Looking at some beautiful features there from that dynamic sunspot. And a little bit better shot today on sunspot 3030, which did produce a low-grade M flare. Back yesterday's UTC time, or yesterday's time, right there. So we're watching this thing kind of bounce up here and rotate into view. We'll see in the coming days if this thing is going to produce anything massive. Right now, 60% chance of a C flare, M flare at 10% chance, and X flare remains at a low 1%. So we'll keep an eye on it. It's not really crackling too much here. It did for a little bit yesterday, but things kind of looks like they're a little bit more stable. Again, we'll see what happens in the coming days. A little bit of coronal hole activity. I got hiccups all of a sudden that will be directed into Earth view, which will be affecting possibly the 3-day geomagnetic forecast here in the coming nights. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, folks, have a good day. It's hot. I'm going to stay inside again today, I hope, unless I have to venture outside into the world, which I don't like to do. A little bit of activity on the Japan station. Stand by for a second here. On the live seismograph. I think I'm going to pull up a Yellowstone station here. Looks like a couple stations are offline, including Mount St. Helens and Petrolia. But watching a little bitty spike there on the Japan station. Very localized earthquake, nothing big. Just a little bit of movement kicking off there along the Japan area. So I'm going to work on that, get the Yellowstone station up here so we can keep an eye on that swarm. And we'll chat you guys a little bit later tonight with the update, unless something major happens here. So have a good day, folks. Stay cool if you're in the heat. And we'll chat you guys later tonight. Peace out.